my good friend Bishop Reginald Celestin, who I love. And Reginald is in Cavaillon, Haiti, and he was just previously in the Port-au-Prince area, and he was unable to fly home, so he had to take a boat due to the instability and the gangs in Haiti. We've had to push back our December crusade until March, but Pastor Reginald and Pastor Rivenson are going to be doing that crusade in the Lakai area in the south. And that crusade is going to be taking place March 2nd to the 5th. So we're excited about that. The work of the Lord is continuing, even though the airport is shut down. But I'd like Pastor Reginald to give you guys some context about what is going on in Haiti because it's a very, very difficult time. And although we can't be there in person due to the airport being literally shut down, we want to stand with them in spirit, in prayer, financially, and we want to continue to encourage them in the work of the Lord because the reality is that in the South, they've got a great window of opportunity and they are in the South still unhindered in a lot of ways, and that's a great blessing. So, Pastor Reginald, can you tell people what was like being stuck in Carrefour for several weeks, a month? How long were you stuck?
Hi, Adam, and hi, everyone. I was in Corfu for 6 weeks, though I went for 1 week. The thing is, our church in Corfu was locked for like 5 months because of we took everyone. I mean, we took as many people as we could, 120 people, to the south just to avoid the big problem that the gangs overpowered Corfu. So after 5 months. So we had to reopen the doors of the church. So I went on Thursday to have a special service on Sunday that we didn't even do in our church building. We did it in a restaurant. So I was supposed to go back the next Thursday. So on Monday they shut up the airplane. So the airport was closed and until now. So I had to stay in Corfu for 6 long weeks, just because I was waiting for the airport. Every time you hear, okay, next week, next week, next week, the airport will be open. So I had to wait, 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 wait. But even though while waiting, I was able to disciple a few people and build up the church. I mean, the people, so that they can take over. So finally, last Thursday night, I had to take a boat to come back because on Friday was the Christmas celebration at the school, and next week will be Christ's 16th anniversary, and I didn't want to miss that. So I that's how I came back. So I have to tell you, I witnessed firsthand also a big miracle because I was not comfortable in taking the boat because the boat is not meant for people. They are pack boats like carrying big trucks like gas truck, cement truck, and stuff like that. So when you're on the boat, you have to stay on the open air. If it is raining, you get wet, everything, So, but I got to a point where the head of security of the boat company, where the boat, got loaded. So he is a former security guy of Pastor Eddie's ministry. So he knew me. So I was talking to someone and he said, why don't you call that person? Da, da, da. So finally I called him and I went, oh, he said, yo, Pastor, it would be an honor to help you and to serve you. So he called me on Thursday. He said, okay, I will make sure that I will pick you up. Tell me where you are. So from where I was, 7 o'clock, he took his car, all 10, windows tinted. He came and he picked me up, took me straight to the boat. And then he took me inside the cabin. So it's like I had AC, I had a place to sleep. It's like I was treated like a king. So, and I was so happy. So I got to Tigua I won 2 o'clock. So at the same time I took a bus 3 o'clock. So by 6:37 a.m. I was already home and I surprised my wife. She didn't know that I was coming. The kids, it was so happy to be back home.
Yeah. So for those of you who are watching and listening, the We See Jesus partners and friends, we were able to stand with Pastor Reginald and so into the IDPs, which are internally displaced persons. He was referencing that he took 120 people from Carrefour to Cavaillon, allowed them to stay on his property where there's a school, a basketball court, a church across the street, some farm area, and a well. And so he had people there, and we were kind of standing with them to feed them. But I just want you to hear the context. He was literally away from his family for 6 weeks, didn't see his wife or kids, and was basically an internally displaced person in his own country. And so I just want people to understand the reality that it's not even literally safe to drive. And so he has to take a boat to go from the north to the south. And yet there was favor. He had to
Yes.
wait. It was uncomfortable. It was difficult. But yet you see the hand of God in the midst of the difficulty because there's favor. And now you have an air conditioned cabin and you're chilling. And God made sure you got there safely, which is a blessing. And so even though there's suffering and long suffering and difficulty and danger, yet we experience the favor of the Lord. And I'm so happy. I just want people to really hear and see and understand the reality in which um, you guys are living in, because it's a very, very difficult reality. And I think that when people are not aware of something, they can't help or want to help unless they're aware. And so, for those of you who want to stand with Pastor Reginald, if you go to weseejesusministries.com/give/projects, there is a project called IDP, internally, excuse me, displaced persons, and that money will go toward feeding Pastor Reginald and his family and those who are on the compound until this whole situation settles down. But the reality is, it doesn't look like it's settling down anytime soon. And the Lord has really placed something in our hearts, and we have not fully committed to it yet, but we're praying through it, talking to our board about it. But what we really want to do in the days ahead is we really would love to build a home for Pastor Reginald and his wife Joanne and their kids in the South. And so Pastor Reginald would be moving from the South to the north instead of being stationed in the north and moving to the south. And so there's a great work going on. He's built a school that's running even in these difficult times. There's a basketball court that our ministry has built, a well that we've dug, a church that he's built, a farm that he has. And so there's a great work and a great opportunity in the South to really reach a very rural, poor area where people's hearts are open to the gospel. In fact, Pastor Reginald was the first church in that area for, I think, 100 years or something, a really long time. And so there is a great work that is being done, and if it's in your heart to support him in that area in terms of feeding and their family as well. Again, you can go to weseejesusministries.com/give/projects, and there is a project that is called IDP, which is internally displaced persons, and that'll help feed them and care for people. And so, Pastor Reg, is there anything specific that you would want people to understand? Because we're talking about the international airport being closed until April.
Yep.
It's December. I mean, this
Yeah.
is this is this is unheard of. So
And
is
and
this is
you
unheard.
know the thing is you mentioned until April according to what they said, but this is not the first date that they have given. So we're not even sure if it will
Correct.
be really in April.
Yeah, correct. I mean,
Oh,
the first date was December 12th,
exactly. Exactly.
and then they got pushed to February,
Yeah.
March, and now April,
Yeah.
which
Exactly.
which is there to me there's no end in sight, but yet our heart is we want to stand with you in the work of the Lord, and we want to encourage you. Even though we can't be there, I mean, we want to encourage you and Pastor Rivenson in the crusades and in the ministry that you're doing there because it's important. Imagine being
Yeah.
a refugee in your own country. Like it's it's it's
Exactly.
it's incomprehensible. I mean, it's really
Yeah. And the thing is, being refugee in your own country is one thing. Let's say that you got a civil war, or let's say that your country is in war against another country. But the thing is, everything is in place. You still have a government, everything is still working, but you're still a refugee. And the saddest part of it is the fact that you don't hear nothing, you don't see nothing undertaken. Like now, we are seeing a demonstration of power. Like recently, the gangs in Haiti, they are showing off, like they are showing off their Barrett 82, which is a gun, like the bullet is almost like 4 inches long, 4 to 6 inches long. When you have a 9 millimeters bullet, comparing to it is massive.
yeah, yeah,
So now they are showing it, yeah, they are showing it, saying that they have two, all of them have at least one, and they are saying that this bulletproof car that the police has, they can just get rid of it like that. And you don't see nothing undertaken by the government. So the airport is closed, the gangs are taking more territories, and they are killing more and more people. Like recently, one guy, he killed about 200 elderly people simply because his son got sick. And then a voodoo priest told him that this is evil from the old people in his area. So like they call them lugau. So the fact that he doesn't know who did it, so he stopped killing old people. It's like you are being killed simply because you are 60, 70, 80 years old. you know. So we are seeing all of this happening in front of our eyes in 2024, and nothing is undertaken.
yeah, and no one is doing anything. Do you think that Haiti has the power to do something or no?
Uh, um, to me, yes, because there's no situation that a country can face without them being able to do something. So we know some people in Africa, they were facing situations like that, and they overcame it. But the thing is, you cannot have the willingness to change anything unless your mind is focused on that thing. And I understand that for the past 10 years, 15 years, they have brought us to that specific area by opening borders to the Haitians. When they had the choice to go to the Dominican Republic, Brazil, Chile, Mexico, and now with the Biden program, everyone is focused now on leaving the country.
Can, can
You
I
cannot,
can I ask you a question about that?
yeah,
I asked you about 5 months ago, what is your greatest challenge? What did you say to me?
the Biden program.
Why?
Because now, first of all, you don't have the manpower. Like you go to the bank, Adam, you are seeing empty counters because the people left. Our police force, a lot of police officers left. Our doctors, like the professionals are leaving the country, but no one is seeing it. It's like no one is talking about it.
Has
Like
it
we are losing,
has it
the manpower.
has it made a bad situation worse?
Yeah, it is making a bad situation worse, except that it is a slow killer. Like people cannot see it, because everyone is happy. At least we are leaving that country. And people they have a bad mouth about Haiti. They always curse the country. So so and then now they are seeing it as deliverance. They are seeing it as something, that
A
a
way
good
to
way.
escape.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
at the same time, not everybody can go. Not everybody will be accepted. And then the second thing now, many people, they don't have no plan, no project because they are waiting for an email. There's no new businesses that people are starting. There people are leaving, selling what they have without even getting the email yet. So the whole country now, people are more focusing on living than on staying. To me, the only people who are really focusing on staying are the gangs because they are starting businesses, they are doing different things. They have plans, but
Wow.
you know, people are just living.
Yeah. And so for people, I don't want to minimize the suffering and the desire for relief. But when you look at the big picture, not just the little individual, right? Because
Yeah,
when there's a guy who, there's gunshots in his neighborhood and maybe his neighbor was killed recently, I get that that person would want to leave, right?
yeah,
And so you have, for those who are watching and listening, we're not minimizing that struggle, but Pastor Reginald is clearly saying in the big picture, this is doing more harm than good. And so the idea of everybody leaving leaves a further vacuum of good people, of professionals, of people that know how to do their job well, which makes an unstable society more unstable. And so, for that individual that gets out and their life improves, it's the further deterioration of a nation and the infrastructure of a nation, which is minimal and fragile anyway. And so, it's really making it more difficult for people. And I mean, you as a pastor, I remember you telling me that people basically told you literally a few days before they were leaving that they're leaving.
exactly.
And these are people who've been with you for years.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Can you just say a story without a name just so people can feel the reality? How does this affect church life?
Yeah. First of all, culturally in Haiti, when people are leaving to go abroad, they would not tell you until the day or a couple of days before they leave because it's something cultural that is related to voodoo in the past. So even though people are Christians, so they are still keeping it secret because they don't want people to do some voodoo stuff and stop them from going. So sometimes I tease them. I would say, "Oh, I understand you thought that I would stop it. I would do some trick to stop it. That's why I would not tell you." So
Can I,
we have people from our
can
church
I
who,
can I ask you a question on that?
yeah,
Do you think that has to do with the spirit of slavery too?
yeah, it has to do with the spirit of slavery because I remember I have a friend, someone that I know, a white person, and he was telling me about people just leaving like that. You may be eating with the person in the morning, and then they are leaving you around 2 o'clock. They would not even tell you. So I told them that if the person has a slave mentality, slave don't negotiate. No, slave don't negotiate. Slave get um, you know,
They run away or
uh,
they rebel?
exactly, rebel. Okay,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
rebel. So that's the same thing. You have people from churches like maestros. You have maestros.
That's the
You have
worship leader. He in that context, the worship leader.
exactly
Imagine
worship
a worship leader having
leader.
lunch with you and then telling you the same day that they're leaving the country. This has been your worship leader for a year, 2 years.
Yeah, and the worst is we have pastors leaving the flock without telling them. So but it's the reality, and I understand. Let's say if you're not doing much,
People
everyone
don't,
has the right to leave.
yeah, people don't understand how deeply poverty affects the mentality, the
Yeah,
communication skills, troubleshooting skills, conflict resolution. It doesn't just affect money, it affects everything. It's like an infection in your mind.
your mind. You're right. You're absolutely right.
And if people don't overcome the mentality, they will never overcome the reality. So that's
No,
why people's mind being renewed and being transformed is so important, especially in such a dangerous place. Um, that is really difficult. I mean, I can understand why people would want to live, which would want to leave. which is why I have so much respect for you for staying.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Um, because you definitely have what it takes to come to America or France or somewhere, start a church, and your whole life would change. You have what it takes. And the fact that you have stayed is something that I deeply respect about you and your wife. I always um, take a note in my mind and heart when I see people who make a sacrifice for the purpose of the kingdom and really with Jesus in mind. I really have so much love and respect for you in that area. And I know some of the difficulties you're facing, after being with you guys for 15 years. I get it. And I don't get it like you get it, but I've seen it close enough to know.
And you've
Uh,
been through it
yeah,
many occasions.
yeah. Um, but anyway, I just wanted to give those um who care just an opportunity again to pray for Pastor Reginald and his wife Joanne, and stand with them. And again, if you want to do that, you can go to wecjesusministries.com/give/projects, and there you'll see IDP, which is internally displaced persons, and we'll be able to just stand with them in this area for now until we roll out another project um, sometime early in 2025. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Anyone who is familiar with Pastor Reginald's ministry, who's been on trips with us, I encourage you to share this with people because this is a great ministry that we have an opportunity to stand with them during a very difficult time. And I want to encourage you guys to do that and to be a blessing to them. Think about them this Christmas season. And we're excited for what God will do in spite of the very difficult situations. Pastor Reginald, do you have any final thoughts or anything that you want to say?
Yeah, so I wanted to say thank you to you, your friend, your family, your friends, people that you know for supporting throughout this year. I know it has been a year of challenge. We were supposed to have three crusades, so we had two. In the last one we couldn't have together, but fortunately everything is ready for us to have it early next week. So I want to say thank you for all of your support to our family, our ministry, and people that you don't even know of. So I wanna say we really appreciate you and your ministry, and we are looking forward to continue the great adventure to do several things together. And I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and
Yep.
a happy and prosperous New Year coming.
Amen. Love you, man. And again, keep Pastor Reginald and Rivenson in prayer because March 2nd through the 5th, during what would be their carnival season, they're going to be out preaching the gospel, doing open air meetings, and working for the kingdom while they're able to. And we're thankful that that's all taken care of, all paid for through generous people who care about the gospel being preached in all of the
Yes.
world. And all of the world also incorporates places that are difficult. And so, again, Pastor, we love you and we appreciate your sacrifice.